Hey, house guests! Welcome to today's Big Brother 26 updates and spoilers. Oh my god, trying to catch up on everything that's been going on since Saturday night, Sunday, and then today without flashbacks. I could not believe some of the things that I was reading. I didn't think they were real at first, but here we are. So, our house guests of the day are Dan and Sarah D. Thank you both so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate it so much. So, thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, like Dan and Sarah, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. Also, I just want to mention if you guys are still hoping to get the live feeds for this season, we have a link for that in the description. And if you use our link, we get a little bit of a kickback, which we really appreciate. So, we have a lot to talk about today. So when we left off the other day, Saturday, the feeds were down for the Power Veto competition. Just a reminder on the players, we had the three nominees, Angela, Kenny, and Tucker. And then Cedric the HOH. And then the two extra players, Leah and Mackenzie. So today's feeds were insane. Going into this, Cedric's target was Angela. However, going into this competition, Kenny was back to saying, I want to leave again. So he told us his ideal scenarios would be for Tucker to win the power veto and use it on Angela. What? And then he would want Tucker to win the AI competition. And then Kenny wants to get voted out against whoever is next to him on the block. Oh my god. So at the time, it looked like the potential replacement nominee would be either Leah or Rubina. But that feels like a million years ago. Also, some of that whole ideal scenario could be playing out. We'll see. All right. So they had the power veto competition, and the feeds were down for quite a while. I don't know if this one was individually timed or what. I'm still not sure what this comp was. But we know that Tucker won the power of veto. Oh boy, I really like puzzles, baby. He's ready to do something crazy. I think he's feeling really pumped up following these two back-to-back wins. I guess not back-to-back because there was an HOH in between there, but whatever. You know what I mean. 2 wins in a short amount of time. So he even tells Rubina, I want to play in this AI arena competition. Everyone's playing too safe right now, so I'm going to do something wild with this veto. We're going to come back to this. This will factor in a large way in today's spoiler update, whatever. So Quinn was chatting about the vote with T-Core and Chemo. And, you know, when he's considering who should go this week between Angela and Kenny, Quinn does not want Angela to keep slipping through the cracks. I don't know if you can believe this, but Quinn is not really a fan of Angela right now. He says, I really think that people are going to be pushing for Kenny to go since Angela is not as strong of a competitor. And of course, there's going to be people saying, like, we can take Angela out whenever, which is true. Like, there is a lot of merit in that. She is going to be easier to take out whenever compared to Kenny, even though Kenny is talking about quitting every other 15 minutes. But, yeah, Quinn does not want this to keep happening, and then Angela sticks around for a long time. So he's like, let's just take her out now. Let's get it over with. Are you surprised that Quinn feels this way? Of course he wants Angela to go because she knows about his secret power. She's already spilled to Tucker about it. We know. Quinn does not know this, that Tucker told Joseph, and that's only the beginning. It's going to keep spreading. That's kind of how it works in this house. But Quinn wants to get Angela out before more damage is done. So Cedric and Tucker chat in the HOH room. And Tucker still, like, he's been pushing for this already, but he is pushing for Mackenzie to go up. He wants to flush her power out of this house and then let America pick the replacement nominee. And he's telling Cedric, look, if you do that, it's no blood on your hands. We find out who America thinks is annoying, right? Because we'll find out who they vote for. And Cedric's like, oh man, I wish we had talked about this earlier. I would have put up Mackenzie and Leah. What? Who do you think you're fooling here, Cedric? There was so much discussion about it. So many people pushing for Mackenzie to go up. to flush out her power, but Cedric didn't want to do it because he was scared that Mackenzie would then target him the following week. So Cedric is also nervous now. What if Mackenzie does go up on the block and she realizes, oh, I'm going to be safe against Angela and Kenny, so she doesn't use her power, and then she'll still have it for next week. So Cedric is freaked out about that, but honestly, I'm sorry. What's her name? I was going to say Angela. If Mackenzie is dumb enough to go up on the block with a power that could take herself off the block and not use it, you got to vote her out at that point. If she goes up and she does not use her power, you vote her out. I don't care who she's up against. No. So, yeah, Kenny joins them. And Kenny is complaining about how no one wants to play this game. Everyone is scared. Sir, don't you dare start complaining about other people not wanting to play this game. Come on now. Okay, so a little later, we're moving on. A little later, Tucker and Cam are chatting in the storage room, and these two are getting bored because, let's face it, we've had the same people up on the block pretty much the first few weeks here, and they're, a lot of them are still here. Angela, Kenny, they're still here. And with that, but also those secret powers still in play, they're starting to feel like this game is just stuck, right? Until those people are gone, until the powers are done. So they're getting bored. Tucker spills to Cam, hey, Quinn has the other secret power. And he says that power can override the HOH's nominations. So yeah, these two are talking about how they are not happy that Quinn didn't tell them about this power directly because they are supposed to be in that Anderson's alliance, the 4 have-nots from week 1, Tucker, Cam, Quinn, and Chemo. So they thought that Quinn would have shared this with them, but Tucker's like, no, I had to find out from Chemo, right? So Tucker's like, if I win HOH, I'm going to have to put Quinn up. And he says it's going to suck, but it has to be done, right? We got to get rid of these powers. We got to shake things up here. So, and then Tucker starts to have some other ideas. Tucker's like, whoa, what if I do something crazy and I use the veto on Angela, and then Mackenzie goes up in her place, and Mackenzie would have to use her power, right? Because there's a chance that if Mackenzie goes up with Kenny and Angela, maybe she feels safe and she doesn't use it. But if Angela's out of the picture and it's Tucker and Kenny on the block, maybe she'll feel like I need to use this because she'd be scared going up against Tucker and Kenny in the AI competition. I mean, that's crazy enough as it is, right? But then Tucker's thinking, okay, again, what if I use the veto on Angela, but Cedric puts Quinn up? It would be too late in the week for Quinn to use his power because he's got to use it before the veto. I guess he has to use it like after nominations, but before veto. And everyone's going to vote him out if they know that he has this power because it's a huge opportunity to get rid of that power, get rid of a really strong player, and also to get rid of somebody who's got alliances with like everyone, right? People are starting to find out and figure out that Quinn is working with basically everybody in this house. Tucker, however, isn't really sure if it's a good idea at this point to use the veto on Angela instead of himself. I mean, that's a big gamble. That is a lot to be using the veto on someone other than yourself. It's not a good idea, right? It's pretty crazy, but I am loving the entertainment value. So during this conversation, Tucker also tells Cam, hey, you should be careful with Leah. Don't be telling her anything important because she's using her flirting on you. And Cam's like, I know. I'm not telling Leah shit anymore. I might never ever talk to her again. Okay, we'll see. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But later, Cam and Cedric are chatting, and they're talking about how Kenny wants to stay now. So going into the veto, he was like, I want to go home. And now after the veto, he's like, I want to stay. So now that Kenny wants to stay, that means that Angela is back to being the target again. So Cedric is like, okay, well, if Angela's the target, I'm going to need a pawn, right? Now that Tucker's coming off the block. So he's trying to figure out who this pawn is going to be. He is trying to figure out who can I put up that's not in any of our alliances, right? He's thinking specifically about the collective and the Pentagon. He wants to stay away from that. He doesn't want to put up anybody from those groups. So his options are basically only Mackenzie, Leah, or Rubina. So then things get interesting because Cam spills, hey, Quinn has the other power. And he tells Cedric what it does. And Cedric is like, why did Quinn not tell us about this? He is supposed to be our ride or die, right? We're in the Pentagon together, we're in the collective together, so why is he not sharing this with us? They're not really sure where Quinn stands at this point. They figure he must be playing multiple alliances right now. He's got a lot of other stuff going on. Yeah. So Cedric is like, all right, I want to see if we can get Quinn to admit to having the power. Like, let's see if we can get it out of him. And if he fesses up, I'll just put Mackenzie up as the replacement nominee. And Cam is like, yeah, this is great because if you do that, even if Mackenzie wins HOH next week, Quinn can use his power to protect you, right? You have that extra level of protection. Okay, we'll come back to that. In other news, Angela and Kenny were chatting in the backyard. This is still all Saturday night. And Angela's like, I would love to see Cedric put up a big target as the renom this week. She doesn't think he's going to do it, though. So Kenny says, well, if Tucker and I both stay this week, we're going to blow things up. And Angela's like, I want to be a part of that with you guys. I am tired of feeling like I'm in high school and I'm not part of the in crowd. Again, she kind of does a lot of this to herself with the way that she treats people and like publicly calls people out. People don't take kindly to that. But anyway, Kenny says maybe we can get something going depending on how this week plays out, aka you're the target. Also, you're a woman, so I'm not going to want to work with you. I'm sorry, but it's true. I only ever see Kenny talking game with the men. So, yeah, Kenny says maybe the replacement nominee will go crazy on the block and you'll be safe this week. You know, they'll have no choice but to vote out the replacement nominee. So Angela is again saying, like, I think Mackenzie's going to go up on the block. And she says she doesn't see the point of that. And Kenny says it's because Mackenzie has one of the powers. She's told people about it, right? She's admitted to a lot of people that she has this power. And Angela is like, no, Mackenzie doesn't have a power. I think she even calls Kenny babe at one point, and I was like, whoa. So Angela says, I know who has it. And my deal with them is pretty much off after I freaked out at them. Could you make it any more obvious that it's Quinn? Also, she's like, I'm not telling anyone who has it because I promised that I was going to keep it a secret, and that's how I'm playing this game. I mean, you already told Tucker, but okay, if that's what you're going with. Angela says she thinks that Lisa had the other power. She's like, yeah, Lisa pretty much told me that she had it. She says Mackenzie is lying. She's just probably saying whatever Lisa told her about it. Is she serious right now? Does she really think that Lisa had it, or is she like playing some mind games here? It seems like she actually thinks that Lisa had it, which is wild. But we're going to come back to that as well. So later, Quinn and Joseph have a chat. And Joseph says, I'm with you all the way, Quinn. Like, let's do this. I'm pretty sure they have a final two, don't they? It's hard to keep track because they both have like a lot going on. But Quinn tells Joseph about the Pentagon Alliance. It's me, Brooklyn, Chelsea, Cam, Cedric. Oh, this is messy. And you're choosing to tell Joseph this stuff. Quinn is not very good at deciding who should know information. But Joseph is putting the pieces together, of course, because he's still stuck on figuring out who brought Brooklyn into the collective alliance, right? He's pissed that she was brought into this alliance without consulting the rest of the group. So he's pretty confident that Chelsea is the one who brought her in. And he's like, there's no effing way it wasn't Chelsea. So he feels like she was lying to him about it because he asked her point blank, like, who brought Brooklyn in? She said she thought it was Cedric. And Joseph was like, no, there's no way it's Cedric. So Joseph feels like Chelsea was lying to him. And he also says that Chelsea and Brooklyn are both dictators. He says it's either their way or the highway, and he hates that. Okay. Yeah, Quinn kind of changes gears here. He's talking about how he would like to form a group with Joseph, Chemo, T-Core, Rubina, and I think Leah's involved in that. And this is an alliance that has kind of been kicked around a bit for a while now. Rubina has been wanting to get together like a group of like outsiders, and I believe Joseph actually brought this up during the what's it called? Collective meeting the other night. So this thing, like, it's already exposed basically before it was even formed. But anyway, later in a different conversation, Joseph asks Quinn point blank if he has one of the powers, and Quinn denies it. Yikes! Quinn was given multiple opportunities on Saturday night to confess to his allies that he has one of the powers. He lied to their faces multiple times, and they know it. They know that he has the power now. So it's just like him digging himself deeper into this hole every time he lies about it. So the rest of Saturday night, Cedric seemed to have decided he's going to be putting Mackenzie up on the block, whether she's on board with it or not. He was all, I'm going to talk to her and I'm going to like convince her to be okay with it. But even if she's not, I'm going to do it anyway. So then Cedric proceeded to have a million unnecessary conversations about it with everybody. Cedric is planning on telling Mackenzie that the majority of the house wants her up on the block. Weak. Pretty weak. He does not want to take responsibility for this move, right? Because he's really nervous that she's going to come after him next week. So now let's talk about Sunday. Kenny approaches Quinn about making an alliance with him, Cedric, and Tucker. So it's essentially the Shake It Up alliance plus Quinn. Again, it's all guys. Kenny's all, we need to get the women out of here. They're starting a girls' alliance. And then Kenny proceeds to make the men's alliance. Over and over. So Quinn says, yeah, I'm down. Sure. This was never actually solidified. This is another potential alliance for Quinn to throw on the pile. Something tells me it's not going to happen anymore. Later, Kenny, Tucker, Cam, and Cedric are all having a game chat in the HOH room. And Tucker is ready to shake it up. He says, we have the chance to get rid of one of the strongest players this week. He says, I want to use the veto on Angela, and then I want Cedric to put up Quinn. And Tucker says, I'm going to go up against Quinn, and I'm going to beat his ass in that AI competition. Ah! So then Tucker is talking about how Quinn has a power, but it has to be used before the veto, right? So they could flush this power this week by getting rid of Quinn, and then it'll just be out of the game. So Tucker says, me and Cam were, full disclosure, we were in an alliance with Quinn and Chemo, but he only told Chemo about it, right? We did not find out from Quinn directly that he has this power, so we can't trust him. So, oh my God, now even Kenny knows about the secret power. So, yeah. Tucker says it's really risky, of course, to take Angela off the block instead of myself, but he says, I'm here to play, and it's getting mad boring in here. I'm sorry, but if Tucker is already this bored, he's not making it the full 3 months. There's no way. He is just going to start playing so erratically, and it's going to be bad. Like, he's not going to make it the whole way. But Tucker says, also, if Quinn is up on the block, he's going to tell everyone about Quinn's power so that they will want to vote him out, right? Make sure that those votes are there. And he says, Quinn is with everyone. He's just going to continue to coast through this game. So we need to just get rid of him now. So the dudes are all like hyped up about it. Maybe. Cedric, is he really on board with this plan though? Because he's the one that has to make the move here, right? He's got to take the shot as the HOH. And we already know he's like trying to figure out who he's going to put up on the block. So these 4 guys, Cam, Cedric, Tucker, and Kenny, they solidify an alliance called the Ball Players. I'm sorry, though. Especially when they talked about Fenway Park. You're done. You're canceled. Of course, they all do the low high five into a bro hug. Not all at the same time. That would be insane. But they all do them individually. And it's just like, do we really need another bro alliance? But it's funny because the women were already picking up on this alliance forming. Like they were saying that it was Cam with Tucker, Cedric, and Kenny before Cam was even really a part of it. So they saw that coming. But before this conversation breaks up, Tucker also talks about how they should target Brooklyn next week because she is like running the girls' side of things. Oh my God. It's not a real thing. So after this conversation wraps up, Cedric is alone. He's freaking out. He's talking to the cameras and he's like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? He says, if I put up Quinn, he might expose the Pentagon, right? And if I don't put Quinn up, the ball players are going to be mad at me. So he doesn't know what to do. We'll get there. In other news, the women are ready to vote Kenny out. He might not be Cedric's target, but the women are ready to cut him loose. Brooklyn, T-Core, Rubina, Chelsea, they're all chatting. They are very aware of how Kenny has been trying to spread around that they are in an alliance together and that they're all working together. Brooklyn's the head of the snake, blah, 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 whatever. So they agree he's got to go. They even say they feel more comfortable with Angela in the house than Kenny at this point because they know that Kenny is going to be targeting them. So then a little later, we've got Brooklyn and Chelsea are still in the bathroom and Angela comes in. And again, Angela's saying that Lisa has one of the powers or had one of the powers. She's like, yeah, Lisa told me about it. It lasts for 6 weeks. She could take over an HOH and replace the nominees. Is she confused? Is she delusional? Or is she just trying to spread misinformation on purpose? I feel like she's confused at this point. Like she actually thinks that Lisa had a power. But why is she saying that it's the power that Quinn has? That's like what's tripping me up more. I don't get it. Because she heard from Quinn himself what his power does. So Chelsea's kind of poking some holes in this argument. She's like, if that's true, like why would Lisa not use the power last week when she was on the block? Exactly. But anyway, the rest of Sunday night, this was insane. Mackenzie was asking Brooklyn, hey, so if I do go up on the block, do you think I need to use my power or do you think I'll be safe? So Brooklyn says, I think you're going to be safe. You know, it's either going to be Kenny or Angela going this week. You don't need to use your power. And Mackenzie agreed. Like, what? I'm sorry. If you are up on the block and you have a power to take yourself off the block, you use your power in that situation. You do not just like risk it because maybe you can save the power for the next week. No, you use the power. Insane. Absolutely insane. Also last night, Cam and Leah got into a little quarrel. He was upset because he told Leah earlier that either she or Mackenzie would probably be going up on the block. That got back to Cedric. It got back to Cam that it got back to Cedric. So he was like, why are you telling people things that I told you? And then he was accusing Leah of spreading around that he's in an alliance with Kenny, Tucker, and Cedric, which he is. He is. But Leah's like, no, that wasn't me. And eventually she starts throwing Quinn under the bus. She says, Quinn and Joseph were the ones who told me about the guys' alliance. Quinn was telling people about that because Kenny pitched it to him earlier in the day, remember, by the pool? So he was telling people, yeah, Kenny wants me to be in this alliance. So, yeah. Leah also brings up how Quinn was asking her, like, are you just playing with Cam's emotions? Like, what's going on here? Because that's what people think. And she was not happy about that. But, yeah, they have their conversation. I honestly don't know where Cam and Leah stand at this point. I'm already over it. We don't need it. We don't need the showmance. But anyway, Cam took this information from this conversation with Leah, and then he's having a chat with Cedric. And Cam is telling Cedric all about this convo. But I believe Cedric was like eavesdropping during the entire argument, conversation, tiff, whatever you want to call it. So I'm sure he heard all of this a lot firsthand. But Cam says that Quinn is the one stirring things up. He is the one behind everything. And he has been stirring things up for sure. But this is not making them want to target Quinn. Instead, Cam and Cedric agree they don't want to mess with Quinn right now because Quinn knows a lot about their games, right? They've got multiple alliances with him, the Collective, the Pentagon. Cam is involved in the Andersons with him. So, yeah, they don't want to touch Quinn right now. They actually want to pull Quinn in closer so that if he does use his power next week, it'll be in a way that benefits their games. So, they have this plan. They want to build trust with Quinn by telling him all about Tucker's plan to get Quinn up on the block. They want to throw Tucker and Kenny under the bus to Quinn so that he'll trust them more. So, and then as far as the power veto goes, Cedric is planning on putting up Mackenzie as the replacement. So then this morning, the Pentagon, they have a meeting in the HOH room. So it's Cam, Cedric, Quinn, Chelsea, and Brooklyn. And Cedric and Cam start spilling Tucker's plan. It rhymes. To use the veto on Angela. And then he was hoping that Quinn would go up on the block and get evicted this week. So Quinn says, that's crazy. They also say Kenny was on board with it, just so you know. And Tucker and Kenny were saying they think they can beat you in the AI competition. They also tell Brooklyn, hey, you were going to be Tucker and Kenny's next target. And Brooklyn's like, yeah, I know. I've been trying to say this for a while now. So Cedric has a chat with Tucker, and this was wild. Oh my God. Cedric is like, Tucker, I think you should use the veto on yourself today because I talked to some people last night and we just don't have the votes to take out Quinn this week. We can't do your plan. And Tucker's like, I don't give an F. I'm still doing it. Meaning he's going to use the veto on Angela instead of himself. Tucker says, we do have the votes. Do you? I mean, even if you think you do, it doesn't matter if Cedric doesn't put Quinn up. But Cedric also lets Kenny know, hey, it looks like the target has maybe shifted to you, so you should probably fight really hard in the AI competition if you want to stay. So yeah, that happens. They have the POV ceremony, and when the feeds come back, the house guests are all still sitting in the living room. Oh, my husband's watching. The puzzles quote, amazing. So Tucker, we find this out. We don't find this out immediately because there was other stuff that we're going to get to. But we find out eventually Tucker used the power veto on Angela, not himself. Oh my God. And Cedric put up Mackenzie in Angela's place. So then Mackenzie used her power, which means she's safe for the week. She's not on the block anymore. And America will be voting for the third nominee. And we're not going to know who that is until Thursday, eviction night. So I want to know from you guys, who are you voting to go up on the block? I don't know. Quinn? Quinn's been very messy. I wouldn't mind seeing him go up on the block. But I don't know. I got to think about it more. But that means, okay, we have Tucker versus Kenny on the block versus TBD, right? Okay, so back to immediately following the POV ceremony when the feeds come back. Tucker is basically hosting a house meeting, right? I don't know how much we missed before the feeds came on, but Tucker is calling Quinn one of the best players and saying, like, wouldn't you want to take out the toughest players first and then coast? He's pissed at Cedric. So Tucker doesn't want Quinn to think this is anything personal against him. So he like goes over and hugs Quinn. He's like, I just think you're the best. And Quinn says the best players don't really get called out like this. So how good is he really? But Tucker then starts bringing up that Quinn is way more athletic than he thought. You know, he's so well-rounded. I believe Tucker also outed Quinn's power before the feeds came back. So that's just like out there now. Quinn's got to go on tour and apologize to all of his allies, meaning like everyone, for not telling them that he has the power. Tucker is pissed, like I said, that Cedric left him hanging. He was really expecting Quinn to go up on the block. But I mean, Cedric told him it's not happening. And he just like did his thing and taking Angela off anyway when he was warned that that was not going to be the outcome. So, yeah, Tucker calls this a bitch-ass move on Cedric's part. Angela and Quinn were also getting into it a bit. We didn't get to see much of that argument. We saw Angela being like, bullshit, bullshit. And Quinn saying, well, you were accusing me of doing things way bigger than this game, and I wasn't doing that. So I'm pretty sure he's referring to the whole "that's the group" situation here from, like, last week. But we heard what's his name? I'm getting so mixed up now. We heard Quinn saying in the diary room that he did cause some drama with that on purpose by telling T-Core, "Hey, Angela called you guys, that's the group," whatever, you know? So he was trying to stir things up there, and now he's trying to act all innocent. But later, Tucker goes over and apologizes to Quinn for calling him out. He's like, "It's just a game, you know, it's nothing personal." And Quinn's like, "It's okay, I understand, whatever." And Tucker implies that Cedric is his target now for blindsiding him, not Quinn. He's really not happy with Cedric for not following through on the plan. But Angela had a chat with Cedric, and this is wild because you can just tell Angela's feeling so comfortable now. She goes to Cedric and she basically tells him, like, "Wow, you really blew it by not putting up Quinn. Like, you could have made a huge move here. Like, you really need to start playing your own game." And she also says, "You were almost handed a golden apple." And she's like, "I'm so sorry that you threw it away." It was insane. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. Things have kind of been blown open here, with Quinn being outed for having the other power and like all this drama. So I'm sure things are still going to be a bit heightened for a while as things, I don't even know what I'm saying, while things kind of like settle. So anyway, we're not really sure who's going to go at this point. I've seen people saying they want Kenny out still. I've seen people being like, "I don't know, Tucker, he's a huge threat." I know Cedric wants Tucker out, that's for sure. But we'll see. We don't even know who's going to be on the block next to the two of them on Thursday. Would things change if Quinn is up on the block? Would he become a target? I don't know. But it'll be really interesting to watch that all unfold. So I want to thank you guys all so much for watching today. And I want to thank our super chatters, especially for the support. Mary Ellen L., thank you so much as always. And hey to the kitty cat. Raven Picks, thank you so much. Hiya, right back at you. Diane, is it Panicia? Thank you so much. Yes, keep it up. Oh my god, today was exhausting trying to catch up on everything. Grape Ape, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. Sean Davis, thank you for the super chat. Sean says, "These people are scared to make big moves." Right? Quinn is a rat. He did say before that he was going to be a rat, so he's staying true to form. He is making alliances with everyone. Kenny is a waste of space and just needs to quit already. Cedric is smart but naive at the same time. I mean, you kind of nailed it. You kind of nailed it. Kenny, the thing that bothers me so much about Kenny is the back and forth. Like, if you want to quit, just go. But then when he starts jumping back into the game, it's always things that I don't want to hear. So it's just extra frustrating. And Cedric, yeah, I mean, he just seems very scared of making big moves. I mean, watching him try and figure out who was going to go up on the block this week was exhausting. Shane Wright, thank you so much for the super chat. Connor Benson, thank you. We really appreciate it. Connor says, "What a crazy 48 hours in this house. What's on my mind the heaviest is where does Quinn stand with Cedric now? Cedric pretty much saved him today, and how will this affect Chemo moving forward?" It is very interesting to see kind of like the aftershocks of this whole thing because there are so many moving pieces. You're right. Like, Cedric could have very easily put Quinn up on the block and everybody votes Quinn out. But he was like, "No, I want to work with Quinn. I don't want to blow up all my stuff." So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, I think Quinn's going to be more upset like with Tucker for calling him out, right? I don't know if he's going to trace this all the way back to Chemo sharing about his power. I mean, we also know that Angela was the first one to tell Tucker. So I feel like Tucker's not going to want to throw Chemo under the bus. Maybe he'll just be like, "Angela told me." I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I hope Chemo's going to be okay. But I think Quinn has a lot of explaining to do because he didn't even tell T-Core about this power. So I think Quinn is going to have to be the one like apologizing here for leaving his allies in the dark. Angela H, thank you so much. Angela says, "Tucker just became my favorite player in years, maybe since BB20 with Tyler versus Rockstar versus Brett. What a move, and another week of Angela, lol." I know, right? Another week of Angela. I do definitely get Brett vibes from Tucker. Was he one of the ones that mentioned Brett as a favorite of his? Because I'm definitely seeing the parallels here. I do think that Tucker is going to flame out early though. I don't think he's going to be able to keep this going for the whole game. It's going to catch up to him eventually because people are going to start targeting him, especially since he's showing what a strong competitor he is in these competitions. But the erratic behavior also is going to get old. So I'm having fun watching him right now, but I'm also like probably not going to have this the whole season. Sean, my husband, thanks so much for the super chat. Stop giving our money to YouTube. He also says, I really like puzzles. I did show Sean that clip the other day because I just could not stop laughing at it. Lisa, thank you so much for the super chat. Hello to you. And Angela, again, thank you so much. And Angela says, voting for Quinn for the block. I think that is one of the more interesting choices. I also would be okay with Joseph going up because I feel like he needs to be humbled a little bit. Joseph, the last few days has been a bit much, especially in regards to this vote. He's all like, I think I'll be okay because like I think they're gonna either pick someone annoying or someone who like hasn't really been on the show that much yet. So it'd be kind of funny if Joseph went up, but it's really hard to predict what's going to happen because I feel like most of this vote will be whatever the casuals want, right? I mean, the ratio of like live feeders to casuals, there's just so many more casuals. So it's going to be unpredictable how they're going to vote. I think a lot is going to come down to Wednesday's episode's edit, right? That's going to determine who's on the block on Thursday. So, all right. we're gonna call it there. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll be back tomorrow for more, talking about more of the aftershocks from this whole thing. So thank you all so much for watching, and until tomorrow, much love. Bye, everybody.